So I just want you to understand that murder isn't always first-degree murder. First-degree murder is a specific intent crime. You have to specifically intend to murder someone, which is evidenced by the premeditation and the deliberation. However, second-degree murder, or as it's listed here, murder, is not a specific intent crime. You don't have to have the specific intent to kill anyone. You just have to unlawfully kill someone, a human being, with malice aforethought, which is evidenced by wanton recklessness, which was evidenced by the hunter shooting his gun near a housing tract that contained a playground where children were playing. That is why answer choice B is the correct answer, and the other choices are incorrect. Question 9. A father was terminally ill with a particularly painful form of cancer. His daughter visited him every evening in the hospital and for several months listened to his pleas to put him out of his misery. On her final visit, she gave her father a hug and then pulled a small revolver from her purse. She fired a shot at her father, killing him instantly. The daughter immediately broke into tears and surrendered to the police. The daughter was charged with her father's death. What is the most serious offense of which the daughter can be convicted? So again, like the question above, this question is asking for the most serious crime for which the daughter can be convicted. Now, these crimes are listed in order of seriousness. So first-degree murder is the most serious offense, followed by second-degree murder, which we just saw from above, which is the unlawful killing of another human being with malice aforethought, and voluntary manslaughter being the least serious offense, or no crime at all. Now, we know that answer choice D is incorrect because she shot an individual with a gun. So she can't be charged with no crime and just walk away from this scot-free. She shot someone. So she is going to be charged with some kind of crime. We know that answer choice D is incorrect. Now, voluntary manslaughter. She could be charged with voluntary manslaughter because normally individuals who are charged with voluntary manslaughter can show that they were somehow provoked to commit this crime. And, as a result of them being provoked, there was a heat of passion and they just reacted. They didn't have any time to think or to premeditate. They just did this crime in the heat of the moment. We normally see these types of examples, or the case law loves to focus on examples that involve cheating spouses, if you will. Let's say that, one of the spouses comes home, finds that their significant other is having an affair, and in the heat of the moment just loses it and decides to kill their significant other. Well, at that point, they can be charged with voluntary manslaughter, which is a lesser crime than second-degree murder, if that individual can show that they acted in the heat of the moment. There was no time to cool off and think. So you can make an argument for voluntary manslaughter in this case, saying that, there was some provocation. Her father was provoking her to end his life and take him out of his misery. But the reason why this argument would not win, or the reason why this argument would fail rather, is because with voluntary manslaughter, there's no time to think, there's no time to deliberate or have premeditated thoughts. You act in the heat of the moment. And that's not what we have here. She did not act in the heat of the moment. So that answer is incorrect. You can argue for it. You can argue for anything. You can argue that she should be charged because there was provocation. Her father kept provoking her. But the other elements are not present. So that argument would fail. Second degree murder, the unlawful killing of another human being with malice aforethought. She can be charged with second degree murder, but it's not the highest charge that she can be charged with. The question asks, what's the most serious charge or the highest charge? The correct answer would be first degree murder, defined by the jurisdiction as premeditated and deliberate killing of another human being. In this case, it doesn't matter that this was her father and that she was doing something that he asked her to do and he was suffering and she took him out of his misery. It doesn't matter that that's what was happening. What matters is her actions satisfy the elements of first degree murder. This was premeditated. She deliberated about this. She was visiting her father. He was constantly telling her to take him out of his misery and telling her about how he was suffering. She went home and thought about this. She deliberated about this. This was premeditated. And then she came in on her final visit, and then she took the gun from her purse and fired a shot at her father, killing him instantly. So this is another example where I would urge you to not let your feelings get caught up in these problems because they cloud your judgment and lead you to select the wrong answer. Focus only on the law. And if you did that in this instance, you would have selected answer choice A because that is the correct answer. So to be clear, I did say that, if you wanted to, you could have made an argument for voluntary manslaughter, but that is not an option. She could not have been charged with the lesser crime of voluntary manslaughter because there was premeditation and deliberation, and that is not found in voluntary manslaughter. There was provocation, which is found in voluntary manslaughter. She can argue that she was provoked by her father to do this, but as I said, the other elements are present for first degree murder, the premeditation and the deliberation, and you cannot have those for voluntary manslaughter. Question number 10. A wife found some letters in her husband's dresser that disclosed that her husband was having an affair with her best friend. Furious, the wife purchased a handgun and waited for the right moment. At a barbecue celebrating her friend's birthday, the wife gave the gun to the friend's 10-year-old nephew. She told the nephew that it was a toy gun that would shoot out a happy birthday flag and that he should shoot his aunt with it as a joke. The nephew took the gun, pointed it at his aunt, and pulled the trigger. However, the nephew's aim was faulty, and when the gun discharged, the bullet struck the husband, killing him. Which of the following best describes the crime or crimes of which the wife can properly be convicted? Now, we need to understand the doctrine of transferred intent. This was in your readings, and it pretty much says that intent can transfer from one victim to the other. That is, in this case, the wife intended for the aunt to be murdered, but instead the husband was murdered. She didn't have the intent to kill the husband. She had the intent to kill the aunt. But as a result, the husband was killed by the act that was supposed to kill the aunt. And therefore, the intent transferred from the aunt to the husband. This is the doctrine of transferred intent, which is in your readings. If you are unclear about that, please reread that section. And if it's still unclear, then please reach out to me and I can explain that to you. But the reason why she can be charged with the murder of the husband and the attempted murder of the friend is because of the doctrine of transferred intent. Now, we know that attempted murder requires a specific intent to perform the act that will result in the crime, the murder. That specific intent is here. We know that the wife specifically intended to kill the aunt. She failed to kill her because the bullet ended up striking the husband. So the specific or the intent rather transfers from the aunt to the husband to sustain the murder conviction for the husband, and then the attempted murder of the friend because the specific intent was there, the overt act was there, and the act took place, and it fell short of a murder only because the bullet struck someone else. Now, answer choice B is incorrect. She can't just be charged with the murder of the husband only because she attempted to kill the aunt. Okay, when the nephew pointed the gun at the aunt, the intent to kill the aunt was there. So attempted murder is a charge that can be sustained. The murder of the husband and the attempted murder of the friend, because but for the nephew's faulty aim, the friend would have been struck by the bullet. So murder and attempted murder. Attempted murder of the friend only, that is not correct because the husband was murdered. And like I said, under the transferred intent doctrine, the murder conviction for the husband can be sustained. And attempted murder of the friend or murder of the husband, but not both, we know that that's incorrect because she can be charged with the attempted murder of the friend and the murder of the husband. Now, I know that some of you may be wondering, how can she be charged with any crime at all because there was no actus reus on her part? She was not the one who shot the gun. Well, her act was not shooting the gun, but she set the plan in motion for this murder to take place. She supplied the gun, she gave the gun to the 10-year-old nephew, and she instructed him to shoot the gun. So while she didn't necessarily pull the trigger, and the act of pulling the trigger is what actually killed the husband and attempted to kill the aunt, the fact that she is the one that put this plan in motion, that constitutes the actus reus that's required for the murder charge and the attempted murder charge. And this is why when we have those situations where the wife wants to kill it's similar to this situation here, but things we see on the news and things that we see on some of those crime shows, the crime shows that are actually real crime shows, like what you would see on Investigation Discovery, those documentaries where the wife hires someone to kill her husband, and the hitman that actually kills the husband, he gets charged with the murder, and then you can turn around and still charge the wife as well, not only with conspiracy but with the actual murder itself, because